Konnichiwa, motherfuckers.
I love it.
Welcome back to another episode of Instant Noodles, where you get your anime fix weekly.
Right out of the microwave.
Bi-weekly, yeah. Right out of the microwave, or kettle, or cup.
If you're a
bowl,
fancy bitch, you get a kettle.
or pot.
Yeah, pot, yeah.
Yeah, you're in a good spot when you can cook it on the stove.
You know you've made it in life.
Yeah. Yeah, you're home, you're comfy, you can boil it on the stove, you don't have to rush to go on lunch break, you're not wolfing it down.
You're not sitting there throwing the packet in super quickly going, just cook!
You're not Gokuing it,
Yeah. Nice reference.
Welcome back.
I kind of love our intro because it's a very chill, I love to see it. And then all of a sudden there's just your voice, just, Konnichiwa! I'm like, whoa,
Good
what happened?
morning, Vietnam. Not saying Robin Williams was definitely the, inspo for that one, but I might be getting that wrong. Is it Robin Williams?
Yeah, it's Robin Williams.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
I don't know if I ever have.
That's another show.
It is. But this show is about anime. Mm-hmm. And I think for this one, you introduced me to one.
Yes. I was watching this anime. I think Rich was at work, and I'm like, you know what? I've been seeing a lot on either Twitter or Tumblr about this new one, and I'm like, what the heck? And then I seen the characters, and I'm like, okay. And then I kind of read the premise, and I'm like, not really my usual go-to, but I'll try it. I'll watch the first episode, see if I like it, and I kind of fell in love with it. So
I can see why. I'll be honest. You gave me the name of it, mm-hmm. which we'll just get it out now. Buddy Daddies.
Yes.
And I sat there looking, and I went, oh, God, that name is questionable. And then I went and looked it up and saw the title poster art, mm-hmm. and it was immediately in love with it. I was like, this is beautiful. Yeah. Okay, I think I know where this is going. The cover art really shows off what it's about, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, you see we're looking at it right now on the computer, but it gives you the whole show, basically, what to expect. It's super colorful. I love the animation for it. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, highly saturated? Is that when it's saturated when it's really colorful? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the complete opposite of Lotus. Lotus was so muted and quiet. This one's bright and loud.
I think that's the difference between the anime from the 90s and mm-hmm. nowadays. Nowadays we're a bit more accepting of the brighter colors and the overt ridiculousness. There was a different mood back in the 90s and 80s.
It was a lot more moody in general, yeah.
So what brought you to this one? Because I'm really curious. How did you bring up this one?
Like I said, I think I was on Tumblr, because I still have my Tumblr from 2008. I never really left Tumblr never really left me. So I go on there once in a while, and I go through the different trending tags. Mm-hmm. And usually that community is huge on anime. So if something happens, especially if it's released weekly, which this one was, that's why I had to, it took me a bit because I caught up to the English, because I watched the English version.
Oh,
I didn't watch the Japanese. I watched the sub.
Oh, I watched
dub. Sorry,
I watched the sub.
Interesting. See, if there's a choice, I'll go, depending on what mood I'm in, I'll watch the English.
I think it depends. There are some that I feel the English just, it happens less often now than it did back in the day.
Yeah.
Where the dubbing was usually pretty bad back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
But they've significantly gotten better. And I think the most important part is keeping the tone and not editing it to what they think Americans want or Westerners want. Mm-hmm. So now they kind of keep that tone from the Japanese side. They just they'll change some of the colloquialisms to make more sense to us.
Yeah.
And that's about it. And I respect that more. So I find that dubs are getting more consistently good.
Okay.
So I'm more willing to watch dubs lately, mm-hmm. but I'll tend to watch a lot of subs.
Fair enough. I find, we're getting out topic now, but so I was on Tumblr, and I looked, and I was going through the trending tags, and of course people started shipping these two. And I'm like, what is this show? Because there's not really a lot of romantic, indication between the two main characters, but, it's definitely, implied in a way. Just, they live together, they take care of each other, or the one takes care of the other.
Do you want to give a rundown of this? This way it kind of gets a better sense of what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. So that's where I found it. I just found it on Tumblr. And then I'm like, oh, it's a new show on Crunchyroll. I have to check it out. Because I kind of been trying to find ones to watch. I'm not really happy with, the selections, but this one stood out. Basically, you have your two characters, and the main one is Kazuki.
Yep.
He's the blonde one. He's more of like the fatherly figure of the two of them in a way. Like or not fatherly. He's kind of
I call him the motherly figure.
The motherly figure. Sorry, yes. The parental figure.
The parental motherly figure,
of Rei, who is the other, the more dark and like moody, doesn't really show a lot of emotion. He's kind of more a recluse, plays his video games, sleeps in a bathtub. It's
funny how you can very tell. I love how there's these two fathers that are assassins who have basically an adoptive daughter.
Yes.
That they're taking care of. And through weird circumstances.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. But there is this great thing where it's clear there's like I guess you can call it the motherly caring. I don't want to say mother because it's not necessarily, it's just the more caring parent.
Yeah.
And then there's the distant parent, which is kind of cliche.
Yeah. And especially with him being blonde and bubbly and the other guy being like dark haired and moody. But they both had very different upbringings.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they're both assassins, and yeah, they go on a job, and you see the introduction. This is like the first episode.
Yeah.
We try not to go into too many spoilers here, but like the first episode, they go on a job. You kind of get the sense of what their roles are, where Kazuki's more of the planner, and he gets all the information, and Rei is more get in there and shoot guns.
Yeah, one's the people person and hacker and plans, and the other guy is he takes the bullets.
Pretty much. Yeah, he's definitely been trained. Like his background is he grew up in the mafia. So like he's very much like that's, he's probably been shooting guns his whole life.
Oh, probably.
Where the other one kind of I'm assuming he fell into this type of lifestyle and had to kind of be more sneaky, more careful because he still is good at combat, but not as good as Rei.
Exactly.
And that's how they think they kind of like met each other and they partnered up because they work well together.
Yeah. I do love their dynamic because as a parent, the whole shtick here is it kind of reminds me of the same shtick as what's it called, the two men and a kid or something like that with the Ashton Kutcher or whatever it's called.
Oh, 2.5 Men.
2.5 Men. It kind of reminds me of a shtick on that. Except it's way more goofy and strange. And I do love that there's these two parental figures that are, especially in Japanese culture, are abnormal. Not only because of the assassination, but they're two parent. I don't think two male parent is very common in Japan.
It is not. That's why it's we're jumping ahead again.
No, we're talking about the relationship.
That's why, like in the scene where they're trying to like enroll into daycare, and they're like, "Wait, she has two fathers?" And they're like, "Yeah," and then just their faces are like, "Say something."
Oh, that's
and they're
weird.
like, "Okay, that's cool," because I think they really like the little girl Miri.
Yeah.
They're like in love with her, so they're like, "Okay, let's make it work." But that was like the third or fourth daycare. Like nobody wanted them.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's a weird dynamic, but at the same time, because they both fill in the parental dynamic in their own way, the distant, tough, loving kind of one versus the more loving and caring one. It's weird that they fill this weird, different kind of relationship, a parental relationship, but at the same time, they fill the classic nuclear at the same time.
In a way, yeah, because like I said in the beginning, they're on a job. And they kind of they're going after this big mob boss or this guy that kind of screwed them over or their company over, and she's been sent by her biological mom to go find her dad. And all she has is a note and directions, but it is common for little kids to go around on their own.
That is true.
Because Japanese culture, they all kind of collectively take care of kids.
Yes.
So if you see a little toddler walking around, it's not that big of a deal because that's how they're taught from a young age to get around, right? So she's trying to find this address, which just so happens to be the same place that these two are going to for a hit.
Yeah.
Which turns out to be like her dad.
Same
so then
person.
she thinks that Kazuki is actually her father because he's dressed in a Santa outfit. It's Christmas. She's like, "Oh my God, you're my dad!" And she's like flying through the air to like hug him. And they're just trying to keep her alive at this point because it's like a shootout, basically. Which kind of introduces you, okay, this anime, as cutesy and family fun as it is, also very dangerous.
Yes. I absolutely... So we're talking about these characters and the story of this arc. I think a lot of this is we're making these suggestions for these anime. And I just want to get this right out of the gate. You suggest this to other people, right?
You're the only one. I don't have many friends that watch
our
anime.
Listeners. Would you be suggesting this to watch?
100%.
Yeah.
It's a very, like, I was surprised doing research that this wasn't a manga.
Yeah.
Normally these types of, because I went on Tumblr after I finished it just to kind of see, because usually you have to be careful because half of these animes will finish after 12 episodes or 2 seasons, but there's still like chapters of manga that they haven't either gotten to or they won't do, like Fruits Baskets. There's huge spoilers for the manga if you just watch up to the end of the 4th season. And you're like, oh, shoot, you know, but it depends if you're going to read it, right?
Yep.
This, it's the last episode is it.
Yes.
Other than the creator on Twitter, they keep putting out drawings that kind of like bridge in the gaps here and there. Just like one-off little photos like here and there. But this one, yeah, you watch it and it's over. Which is like nice because it's refreshing.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I like the you either what is it, die a hero, live long enough to see yourself become a villain. And I find a lot of shows accomplish that, and I like to see a show that has a planned story, beginning, middle, and end. And that's one thing I really liked, and I think that's a good mention that you can expect out of this.
Yeah. So if you watch this anime, it took me a bit to watch it because I was watching it as it was releasing. I got to like episode like 9, and then I actually I watched the last 2 episodes on the subtitle because I didn't want to wait until I actually had to go back and I'll rewatch it in the English. But I did get a sense of what the subs was like, and I liked the voice actors. They
were fine. Now maybe so if we're going to talk about these characters, because you got the Kazuki and the Rei, the Japanese were fine. And here's the deal: I don't have children. Myself and plebeian wife Amanda have no plans on having children.
We don't have kids either.
Yeah. So Miri's Japanese voice grinded.
It's very high pitched. Also, I will say the English one was also like, you know, she's obviously playing a little girl.
I'm not upset at it because to me the whole shtick is that they love this child. She's got high energy. She's clearly positive.
Oh, she's like a bundle of energy.
She's a bundle of energy. And to them, she is annoying. Like these are 2 fathers that are just trying to make their way in life. And they've got this kid who's loud, obnoxious, keeping them up at night, so on and so forth. And they're just trying to make it through, but they can't help but love this ball of positivity.
They get adorable. Like, because at first she's sleeping in one of their shirts on the couch.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you got into it yet, but they like give her a room basically. And it's like the most precious, like little
girl room pink.
And I'm like, oh my God. Like they, you know, they really do grow to love her. And
they go on a shopping spree to buy her all the stuff that she needs. It's great. I really love their dynamic. I think it's it really reminds me of a parent where you're like, on one hand, you just want to go to sleep. Like I know a lot of parents and you just want to go to sleep and you love your child, but at the same time, there's a little level of like, just shut the hell up.
Where they follow you.
Where
she like goes and bugs Ray because he sleeps, he's so like traumatized with his upbringing and just having to be like so militant. He sleeps in the bathtub just so if an assassin comes for him, looks in his room, there's no one there.
Yeah.
And then she starts bugging him in there, being like, well, you can't just sleep here alone. I want to be with you, right? And he's like, ugh. But he just allows it at first, I think, you know. But, it's great. I was really happy with this one. I would probably rewatch it with just the subtitles, just to see the difference, if the dialogue's different or
the wording,
if it's a different tone with the different voice actors.
That makes sense. So we talked about the art style of the poster and the colorfulness. I think a huge important factor with anime, and this is something you'll find that usually with my suggestions and things that I'll be bringing to the table, is I usually only watch things that has really good animation. And if it doesn't have good animation, it drastically impacts my enjoyment of it.
Yeah.
What did you think of the animation part of this? Because we like the art style. We determined that.
Oh, yeah.
What about the animation parts of it?
I enjoyed it. I liked the different like highlights. It's very stylistic, but not overly so. I find with some anime nowadays, it's like there's too many like of the lens flare, too like the eyes are too like shiny or too like detailed. Like it's almost like over the top.
Yeah.
That's mostly like you'd see like in like the magical girl animes where it's just like everything's sparkly. Or certain animes, like it just like has this like iridescentness to it. So I enjoyed this one. It's like it was very like detailed with the color choices, but not over the top. It was more like a flat, I guess.
Yeah, they knew where to put their money. One thing, there was a scene that I really, really enjoyed that it sparked a joy. They were negotiating with the daycare centers.
Yep.
And when I think the teacher accepted Miri showed a level of excitement, and her hair did this sort of lift thing.
Oh, the lift thing, yeah.
And it reminded me of Studio Ghibli type hair when they get all excited.
Yeah, like everything kind of lifts up, and it's like, oh, there's a lot, you know, and the eyes get all like...
Yeah.
I like that because it was only done in certain parts that really showed the meaning for it, and it wasn't overly done.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that was really good. They had these beautiful artwork. They knew when to spend their money on the animations and some of the action scenes. Albeit the very few action scenes, but they looked good when they happened. And they were always fun. The action scene, there's a common thing with like Jackie Chan's action where whenever he does, well, I don't want to just do a fight. There always has to be stakes to a fight. Something I'm trying to catch and keep safe or something like that, right? Something I'm trying to keep this painting safe in the middle of a fight. And it makes the fight more entertaining. And I find that the action scenes here are great because she always comes and screws them up. And they're trying to get their job done while at the same time protecting this young girl who's just getting in the way.
And they're not used to that at first. They kind of get the hang of it, hence the daycare. Like they're like, you can't be around during the day. Like you have to go because we're going to get in trouble because they get their they get their assignments assigned to them and they're trying to keep her a secret.
Yes.
So they have to do it in a way that nobody really knows because then that is a weakness. And they like whoever is bad can go after her to get to them. Yeah,
I think it's a huge thing, especially because, and that's, Kazuki has this clear trauma of his own past. I'm not going to get into that. And that drives him to protect her in this strong way. And I really started to enjoy the action scenes. I think there was a scene where they had to assassinate someone and he wanted to just go in as like a cameraman or something.
Yeah.
And she showed up and he's doing all his camera. He's doing his hacking and all this cool stuff. And then he comes out the door and this girl just comes out of the bathroom with the bad guy henchman. And he goes, you could just see this face on him going,
and then she's like, shit, Papa. And it's like, wait, you guys know each other. And it's like, grab her.
And it becomes this mad frenzy.
The interesting thing in my research, what I was looking into was, who wrote it, the animation studios and things like that. Because I'm like, this is such a mix of genre. Like, how did this happen? And it turns out the one writer, Vio Shimokura, he was one of the writers on Steins Gate.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So that explains the action part. And then the other writer, Yuko Sorry.
Good luck. Good luck with the names. Welcome to anime.
I can read my own writing. She wrote on animes. I mentioned it before. There's an anime.
Yuko Kakihara?
Yeah, Kakihara. Yeah. So she wrote on more slice of life. Like there's an anime that I watched years ago. I had to rewatch it, but it's like follows a bunch of high school students called Orange. And it's kind of slice of life romance. And then she's also done like things like Heaven Lost Property. So more like of the romance slice of life. When I read that, I'm like, that makes so much sense because you can tell her influence with, and then his influence with Steingate because that's more of like a high fan, shoot 'em up,
sci-fi, ridiculous.
Yeah. So I'm like, it's really cool that they got together and wrote this because it's the perfect mix of those two genres. And it makes sense why the action is so good. Yeah,
you know what? I didn't realize those two were tied together. That is a great compliment. Like I got nothing better to say, but like, you're right. That is fantastic. That I didn't realize it was those two different types of developers putting together. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick one? So considering both you guys enjoyed this anime, what would you guys compare it to?
Oh,
it's hard to
you guys all both consume so much of it, but as this stands out, you immediately mentioned when you watched the intro before we started the show, there was splashes of Cowboy Bebop inspiration.
That's a good
point. With the guns and the thing. Is there a vibe, or is this does this fall in a certain category of a show that also reminds you of another show? And what would that show be?
Nothing in anime that I can think of. I've never watched so these kind of anime. That's a good question. This kind of anime is generally outside of my normal experience.
Same.
And so this kind of it's a little bit more slice of life than I'm used to. So it's almost like a bleeding into that slice of life style that I don't normally watch. So no,
it's working. It's getting through to him.
You're finding all the right ones to feed me.
Like, hey, this is like, there's guns and fights. By the way, also very heart-wrenching, loving family story.
You got it right. I love human stories, and so it's a great choice in that. It's very emotional and and the characters are good, and you want to root for them, but obviously things go wrong. But no, I can't think this reminds me of any other one anime. I've seen other shows like this, usually live action, but not anime.
Yeah, it's very unique. Like I said, just with the writers they got, the music, which I'll put on in a moment, or not put on, but talk about.
Maybe Paprika.
Paprika.
I think it's a movie. It's a movie about a bunch of, if I'm thinking of the right one, it's a movie about a bunch of homeless people having to take care of a child.
Okay. Also, I haven't watched it, but Spy Family.
Oh, I've not seen that one, but I know what you're talking about.
This one seems a lot, because I think that one they also take care of a little girl, but like I haven't seen it, but that one would probably compare, because it is like I'm assuming they're like, spies or assassins, and they run into this little kid that they need to take care of, but I haven't seen it yet. I don't know much about it, but probably closer into that type of anime.
Okay.
Because that one's very popular right now too, and it's a shame I haven't watched it yet.
So one of the things I think it's important to talk about is, like you talked about how we've got the studios and the writers. Mm-hmm. I was looking through the names of the voice actors, and it seems like this is, I don't want to say a new batch, but this is, for a lot of these people, this was their first main characters in an anime.
The Japanese cast?
No, the English cast.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look at the Japanese cast. I focused on the
okay, gotcha.
Even though I watched it subbed.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm going to learn about that. I'm like, oh no, because I looked into I looked into that as well, and the person that did Kazuki, I don't know the characters.
Landon McDonald.
Yes, he did voices on JoJo Bizarre's Adventures and Demon Slayer.
Yeah, but I think they were all secondary.
They weren't the main characters.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't quite put my finger. Normally, when you watch a lot of anime, you're like, I know that voice actor. I know, because they share the same ones. They were unique, and they were all really good. So it was nice to see new names that I have not recognized before.
Yeah,
that are instantly recognized, and also being very talented.
Yeah, like especially the guy who played Ray, David Matrenga, he did My Hero Academia voice acting, but I don't, like I said, I haven't watched it, so I don't know if it was like a main character, but his voice was just so, like, he's like, the deeper, more gravelly, kind of like type of voice. And it's like, I'm surprised he hasn't gotten, hopefully this gets them into more of like the leading roles, because they were very good.
Yeah. Now, mind you, when I say very good, I just realized what I was thinking of the Japanese people, because those are the ones I listened to, and I thought they were really good. But they also, I don't think they've done anything that we're fully aware of. They haven't done much that, the Japanese aren't people, like I'm looking through their list right now, and they're nothing that I notice.
There's a lot of Japanese anime, that like maybe it hasn't come over here yet,
Well, I'm just like, the biggest one I can relate to that I've seen a lot of these names under is secondary characters in My Hero Academia. Yeah. Which I watched because my niece likes it, and I really want to, like, I'm kind of like, oh, you like anime? Here, feed it all to you. Become a nerd. Yeah. But no, what I've seen a lot of them in is Trigun Stampede. The Japanese voices play, it's hilarious. One thing I noticed is the Japanese characters in here, they played characters in Trigun Stampede.
Oh, so you recognize them.
And the English actors played the same characters.
Oh, so they kept, that's funny.
Some of them, not everyone, but like one or two of them. And it was kind of interesting to see that correlation, that relationship. So I went looking, and I went, oh, maybe it's the same producing company. It's not. Just pure coincidence.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, a few of actually with David Montrenga, he worked with the I don't know, remember, well, obviously they all get kind of shuffled around with the Aniplex and everything, and like Funimation, they kind of all use the same voice actors here and there.
Yeah.
But I do remember seeing his name pop up when I was looking into the writers and the production, because I don't know, I looked into it a little bit, but there's another anime called Charlotte.
Oh yeah,
that they're like most known for. That was like, because when you look at the writers and the director, he's only done like a couple, and I don't recognize a lot of the names, but that one was like their most like hit. And I'm pretty sure a few of the voice actors from this worked on that show, so they must have liked them and kind of brought them in. But I haven't really seen any of those ones. This is my first of this like writing team that I seen like together. So
that makes sense. So we got through the animation. I wanted to make sure how did you like Miri? I'm really curious, because I know that Miri was, I don't know how to describe it, but I liked all the characters. Miri, I felt like the parents, where I wanted to, and I'm sorry I'm saying this in live, but I kind of wanted to strangle her at times, but also I kind of fell in love with her. I'm like, I want to strangle you, but also you're adorable.
Oh, she's so cute, because it's funny with her upbringing, because her mom, she's like a cabaret dancer or like singer. That's the whole thing. Like,
that was a painful episode.
Oh, when it showed her mom,
yeah.
Yeah, she's in a bad spot. Like, she just didn't want anything to do with Mary. She's like, I don't want to take care of you. You're getting in the way of my work. Like, she's a singer at a nightclub, basically. in like a bad situation because like the nightclub owner is like kind of like, you know, beats her up and like, you know.
And she was taken advantage of by a very rich guy who could not give less
Exactly.
about her.
So she's like, I just don't want anything to do with you. Go and find your dad. Here's a backpack, a note, and the clothes on your back.
Yeah.
And like she is so like she loves her mom so much, and it's so sad. But you know, just as tragic as her upbringing has been, because she's only 4.
Is that how old is she?
Yeah, she's 4.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. She says it multiple times.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
So she's just so positive for having such like a, you know, like a shitty mom, but also she idolizes her. Like she's good at singing. Like she always talks about it. She wants her mom's food all the time, even though her mom's food is just, you know, dollar store like
prepackaged food. Yeah.
Which is funny when he starts cooking for her and she's like, I want my mama's, and it's like he's making like 4-star meals for her and she's like, I want cereal. Yeah, so she's very playful, and I think they needed that.
Yeah.
Like she is such an opposite, especially to Ray.
Yes.
But they kind of needed that oversaturation of just positivity in their life in order to kind of break out of their slump that they're in, right?
Yeah.
But I really liked her. She grew on me, yeah.
It took growing.
I think the audience kind of grows with them.
Yeah.
That, you know, by episode 2 or 3, you're like, okay, this kid actually is like adorable.
And I think that's what I'm trying to say is a huge positive for this is I feel like Ray. I feel closer to Ray than I do Kazuki.
Yeah.
Because I don't really particularly have children.
You don't have that like paternal instinct that he had.
Exactly. So I kind of felt like Ray, where I grew with the kid just as Ray did, and almost following the same journey. Like the episode where he started to enjoy the kid was the episode where I started to enjoy the kid.
Yeah, like he's kind of healing his inner child.
They got you.
They got me.
They got
you.
They fucking got
turned
you.
you into a buddy daddy.
Yeah, you got me.
Yeah, like he's healing his inner child and dealing with his own emotional like upbringing and trauma by taking care of her.
Yes.
Because there's that whole great scene in the beginning where he brings home a kitten off the street, and Kazuki's actually the one being like, no strays. We can't have a cat, and he brings it back.
Yeah, that cat was.
And then he feels guilty, he goes to bring food to where he found it, the cat's gone. And then you kind of get that like feeling of like, oh, I messed up.
Yeah.
And then they bring Miri in, and then there's that little bit of like Ray's kind of like, oh, I thought we said no strays.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of that like, oh, but you know, there's character development through it, and there's character development all the way to the end.
Yes.
Which I appreciate because I know you haven't watched all of it, but like
I'm excited to.
it's very good. Yeah. Like you're at the midway point, so it all just kind of builds from there. The one thing I wanted to talk about quickly too was the music, which was by a band, like a pop band from 1997 called Round Table, and they also were responsible for doing the Chobbits theme. So if you watch the Chobbits, like the opening theme,
I have watched Chobbits. Yes.
It's the same pop group.
Oh.
That's why I'm like, we have to watch the intro first.
That makes sense. I didn't recognize that because it's been a long time since I've watched Chobbits. But no, it was a great intro. I loved the art style. Rich mentioned before that I really liked the Cowboy Bebop sort of inspired.
Oh, the
stylistically.
blockiness of it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want jazzy, but it's like a pop jazz style, which I really enjoyed.
It's a good build up to what to expect from the show.
Yeah,
and it's a great little intro. I love it. Usually I skip past the intros depending how much time I have like to watch it.
Yeah,
like if I'm trying to squeeze one more episode in.
Okay, there's something I got to say though.
Yeah,
is there no skip intro in Crunchyroll?
There is.
I never came up for me once watching this.
Really? Yeah, no, it plays after the first like 10 seconds. Like it'll play for the 10 seconds and then it'll pop up, and if you don't catch it right away, you're
dead out of luck.
Yeah. But I did find with this one, even with the skip intro, it would still play like the last like few minutes, like couple, like it didn't skip right to the end. Like,
it was just kind of like guesstimating it.
Yeah.
How does it score on fan service?
0.
Like I said, there
0
isn't
fan service.
They are friends.
Okay.
Like I don't want to spoil. Like
how horny is it?
Not at all.
1
Good
to 10.
question.
I mean, there is a couple where like he's walking through like the streets of Tokyo, and the like the different establishments are like, oh, we miss you, come in, and they're like in the costumes and stuff. So like,
but I didn't feel like it was put there in place of fan service. In my mind is one of those things where it's here so we can pull in the teenagers who like to watch this.
Yeah,
you know, the boys, and I didn't feel like they were showing a part of this character. and how they don't really have physical love of another woman, of a partner.
Yeah.
And so he does this as his part of his
Yeah,
thing.
like they're, everyone's kind of coping with their own inner, like you said, the we won't spoil what happens, but like
Their
something
inner
happens
history.
to Kazuki. Yeah, so
Tragic backstory.
they don't really show a lot of romance. And they are just like really good friends. Although the only thing I guess that's fan service is that they're called like, she calls them Papas, and it's Papa Ray and Papa Kazuki. And everyone just kind of goes with it. And they're like, and all the moms love them at daycare. They have crushes on them.
So
it's
there's
just
the horny level there.
Yeah, the moms. Okay, the moms
Subtle.
at the daycare.
It's subtle.
Love them. Well, they show up in suits, right? So they show up like
They're all
super,
fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like nice car the first day. They dress her up really nice, which actually hurts her like reputation at school. But like, yeah, no, they're just really good friends, and there's no romantic
I totally
tie
fine with
between
that.
them.
I don't know if that's just because the Japanese aren't as accepting of it, and that's the thing is I don't know if it's I don't know if they don't go that far because the Japanese aren't really, the Japanese culture doesn't accept that as much, or if it's no, they just always intended it to just be close friends. They never really thought of it being.
They take
deeper.
care of each
That's
other.
also okay.
Yeah, no, it is okay. I love it. I think there needs to be more bro love.
It's this
Two dudes
platonic.
splashing apart in a hot tub.
Yeah, it's all platonic love between them as friends, and they will like die for each other, saving each other, but it's like professional in a way. But yeah, no, they're just really good friends.
Yeah, I love it. I love their relationship because it is it's a good bromance, and I love myself a good bromance.
So I got one more for you before I quit interjecting. Would it work as a live action, or does it fit the anime shoes
I think
perfectly?
it would.
It would definitely work as a live action. There's nothing in it that is like over the top. Like they could definitely do it.
I think they could easily turn this into a, like, I don't know what the clear spot is for live TV, but this could be a show that most people, my mom, my dad would like if they made it live action. They could easily do that. My parents would love this because it's a little zany and a little goofy, but they also they're grandparents now, so they still love kids and they have that connection. So I think this would play really well if you put it out to a general audience. But I think you would have to make it live action because still, even today, a lot of people don't accept animation as adult content.
I know.
Which is weird.
But you can even make it into a movie. There's a lot of filler that happens. You can turn this into like an hour and a half, 2 hour live action movie and still get the same
motion
point across.
Yeah, you could.
I think it would just more focus on the mafia aspect and not so much of their day-to-day lives with Miri. Like she would be there, but it would be more, I think it would just shift more towards Ray's story.
Really? You think so?
Just in order to get that like action in there and like, really like drive it home.
Yeah, people love people love their action.
Yeah. So I think that's the only difference. They would have to focus more on that and maybe less on like, oh, Miri goes to daycare every day.
Who would you cast? Is this
Oh,
like a
I have
Ryan
no
Reynolds?
idea.
Ryan Reynolds. I'm a dad all of a sudden in an assassin Netflix summer movie.
I don't even know who you'd cast as Ray at that point.
Keanu Reeves.
Ryan Reynolds, Keanu Reeves.
As Ray.
Yeah.
Kazuki, I almost feel like Kazuki should be. I'm kind of reminded of
Chris Pratt.
Ow!
Joking.
No. That's not bad.
You got serious and you got silly.
Or Pedro Pascal.
I feel like Pedro Pascal would be more of a Ray character.
Yeah, he could play more of like the older, like stoic.
The stoic. No, I think Chris Pratt's actually not a bad idea. I was thinking, oh my God, what's his? Matt Damon.
Yeah,
That's Kazuki.
that could work.
May
too,
would just be any kid that can act because really you're just happy.
I don't know any like
act.
little kid actor. Bella Ramsey. Be a
She's
little
too
older.
old. She's a little. She's a little too old.
They're too old.
She's very talented, but she's a little old.
There.
Oh, she's there. Are they?
Yeah.
My bad. Did not know that. I apologize.
Yeah, it'd be like, okay, then we're just turning it into The Last of Us at this point.
Yeah. No, but I think that's I think it's right. You could do this live action. I think that's a very important, interesting question. That it's not that out there. That it's not something other people that don't watch anime could even watch. But for those who do watch anime, it's a special treat. I think.
It was refreshing. I liked it. Like as a final thought, like
Yeah.
it was just nice.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely like an instant noodle type of anime, comfort food type rainy day. Just, you want to go and just get like a cup of instant noodles and watch something that's just nice.
Yeah. This is cookable.
But one more thing I will say about this, in my research too, there is a Japanese website for it. It's all in Japanese, so it's Buddies-Anime Project. And in there is they have their Twitter link and an Instagram. And I'm like, oh, they have an Instagram. Okay. And it's fantastic _sweeper 0516. Weird name. But because the whole, a big chunk of this anime is how Kazuki cooks really well. So it's real life pictures of what they cook in the show.
Yeah.
So it's like the bowl of cereal or like the different...
if they had more time, they should put the recipes.
Yeah. And it's like the rolls that they do and things. And you can tell when it's like, oh, this was what Miri was making. And it's a little off. And it's a little adorable.
Messy. I love it.
But yeah, no, it's actually adorable. I wish I could read Japanese because like the whole website is super colorful. It's like a really good reflection of the anime. I just can't read any of it. It's all in Japanese. So I'm like,
So speaking of reading Japanese.
Oh, yeah. Have we come to that part of the show?
I'm assuming we have. I don't know.
We have come to the word of the day. This is where we find some cool phrases or different words to educate on as far as Japanese language goes. And today, because of the food aspect of it, and you see this in every single anime when they're eating, and you see them kind of do like a bit of a clap with their chopsticks, and they say the word, and then they eat. And that word is itaka... Whoa.
It's okay. It's a different language. We understand.
Sorry. I did just have it. Oh my god. Itakimasu.
Itakimasu.
But it's itakimasu written, but the U is silent. So itakimasu, so they say it fast. So you don't have to like pronounce it, you know. But it means basically like thank you for the food or I humbly accept.
Yes.
But it's generally just viewed as kind of like a bon appetit. Like you're showing that gratitude to the food and you're like, thank you so much. Let's all eat.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up because they say it a lot in this show.
Yeah.
Because food is a large portion. So I like you connected it to the show. I love it.
Yeah, because there's a huge like food aspect to it and it's really well drawn. Like the anime, like just the food they make. I'm like, I want to learn to make that. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's great. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. What's our next show? What are we going to talk about next time?
I think I am looking at a charming little anime. It's a shorter one. Mm-hmm. So you can get through it in a day if you wanted to. It's only 3 episodes. I believe it is called A Girl from the Other Side.
Girl from the Other Side.
And it's on Crunchyroll. I'm not sure of the other ones, but I've only seen it on Crunchyroll. It's not on Netflix or Amazon. Okay.
So if they want to kind of be caught up with us,
yes,
so we can talk about it at the same time not next week, but
yes,
next episode.
Because next one, I would definitely like to talk about the whole thing.
Okay.
So listeners, if you want to check it out, like I said, it's 3 episodes. They're 25 minutes each. You can get through it in a day if you wanted. It's just a really charming, it's different. Like it's a really, I don't know. It's more whimsical, I guess. It's more of like a fantasy based one. Okay. But it's just very beautiful as far as animation goes.
Wonderful. And I was inspired by our first episode. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go and watch Record of Lodos. Oh. Because I am so excited. That one, you tickled me just right with that one. So I'm going to go watch that and we'll talk about that one as well.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to do a little bit of a refresher because it's been like 2 months since I've watched it, but I could talk about that one all day. Like we still do. I'm like, it's hard to find one to match that, to be like, I want to go back and watch it for the first time again.
Yeah. One of those you can never quite go back.
To hear your thoughts on it once you get through it, but it is beautiful.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah. But make sure it's the 13 episode one. Don't do the 27 episode one.
Do the OVAs.
Do the OVA. Okay. Yeah.
Sold.
Yeah.
All right.
But I think that wraps up our little show today. I think we covered everything. We talked about Buddy Daddies, talked about what to expect next, kind of talked more into the different...
Where can they find us?
Animation styles. They can find us on Instagram. Or not Instagram, Twitter and YouTube at the Raised by Spoilers podcast. We're all just kind of putting it out there all together. So definitely look there for clues and, posts from us. And yeah, I'm once again Amanda, your host, your goth mommy and feminist warlord, and
I'm Adam.
And sayonara.